Welcome to the Kingsley Napley Shines a Light series, part of our International Women's Day celebrations for 2021. In this video, we will be shining a light on women in the creative sector, and we are delighted to be joined by Joanna Gilbert, a London-based artist. One of the missions of International Women's Day this year is to celebrate the work of women creatives and elevate their visibility. And it's fantastic to have Joanna here sharing her experience of working in the art industry. It is particularly exciting to welcome Joanna to this series because some of her beautiful artwork will be featuring in the new Kingsley Napley offices, which we are due to move into in summer 2021. So, without further ado, I will now hand over to Joanna, who is joining us from her studio, to tell us a little bit more about herself and her background.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be on board with you guys. As you said, my name's Joanna Gilbert. I'm an abstract painter and I'm fascinated by the world around me, and I tend to kind of translate that into large abstract works of colour. The other thing I'm really passionate about, and I think we're going to talk about this later on, is mental health and well-being. And I feel that I paint from a palette of hope and mental health, and there's a strong message that I like to share through the art that I create. So I think we're going to discuss that a little bit more.
Yeah, it would be great to discuss that further later on. How did you get into art? How did your sort of career progress?
I think that moving into art professionally was always what I used to do for me. And it was kind of a stepping stone to discovering the real Joanna Gilbert. I'm a mum, and as the kids kind of got a little bit older and the fog of kind of parenting very young children just lifted, I had a little bit of, oh, who am I? Like, I didn't really know what my identity was or who I was, and that kind of led me on to exploring art, which was something I loved as a child, but my parents told me not to do at university because they said you could never make any money on it. So I did a marketing degree, which funnily enough has steered me in, like, you know, quite a good unique advantage point, because now I can market my work as well as create it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see that you've had that change and you've ultimately ended up following what you really wanted to do. You've mentioned that you were a mum. It's obviously been a challenging time for parents and working parents during COVID. How have you found balancing working and childcare during this time?
The first lockdown was really tough. I had one child who was doing year 6 of primary, so he was just in the last year of primary school, and I had another child who was in secondary school. And I felt like there was so much pressure because everyone was almost running around not knowing what to do. And I was working as well. I also worked for a mental health nonprofit called iHeart. So I was working for them, I was creating my own practice, and I was juggling being a teacher, a homeschool parent, and just not knowing what was going on in the world. But just before lockdown, I had built, my studio's in my house, and I had built the wall behind me which divided my kind of the dining room and the lounge, and what that allowed me to do was to paint during lockdown. And I'm totally grateful that wall was built just before March, because I really made use of the space.
Yes, and I think, I mean, it's certainly, from talking about a mental health perspective, being able to have that division even within your home between kind of work and sort of home life is also really important where it's possible to do so. International Women's Day is obviously about helping to forge a gender equal world and celebrating women's achievements while challenging inequality. Have you found that you face any particular obstacles as a woman in your sector, in your career to date, and have you noticed anything changing or evolving over time?
I think personally, I haven't faced any gender inequality. However, it is a known fact that the art industry at large is dominated by you know, a male bias. And I do know that many of the kind of big collections in America and in Europe are dominated by men. And I also know that when it comes to auction and valuing works, women are lower. So, I mean, but I think that there's a whole load of sociological and reasons kind of why. I know that Artsy have just done a art genome project where their algorithms of the artists are actually assessed and checked against all sorts of kind of characteristics. So there's an ongoing study to look further into it. But personally, with me, I'm just doing the best that I can. I don't feel that I'm at a disadvantage because I'm a strong woman. And I think that if I can inspire other women to be strong women and follow their dreams and follow their passion, then I'm all for that.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. This year, International Women's Day is about choose to challenge. Is there anything in any aspect of your career or your industry that you feel that you've had to challenge or that you're currently looking at challenging?
Yeah, I love this theme. I think that challenges and the way that we look at them can really help change our life. And I think that challenges are going to pop up everywhere. In fact, when I was doing my master's, I was living the most challenging point of my life. I was going through a divorce. The kids were still fairly young. I was working harder than I've ever worked at a degree, and so many things felt like they were going wrong. But that's when I stood strong and actually came into myself as a person. And I think that, yeah, we have to choose. We have to choose how we see these challenges. And if we can grow from them, then we will become more aligned with who we are and what we stand for and what our purpose is. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Yeah, I think sort of finding strength from challenge is a really lovely message, especially at the moment, actually. Sort of talking more about things which you found inspirational or things that have helped you to kind of face challenges. Is there anything that you've seen or read or listened to that have particularly inspired you that you would want to share with other people who might be watching this?
Yeah, two books that I'd really love to suggest is Atomic Habits by James Clear and Brené Brown, Braving the Wilderness. This one in particular, the Brené Brown one, I've developed lots and lots of insights as a result of reading this. And it's all about kind of standing strong in your own wilderness and really following something that you're passionate about. And when you have true alignment with yourself, it's like you become invincible and you've kind of got this little internal superpower. And that's, yeah, that really kind of helped me feel the way that I'm feeling. So I would definitely recommend this one.
I think those are great recommendations, and that's a great note for us to end on, so thank you. We'd just like to say again, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your insight and experience, and also letting us look at your beautiful pictures while we've been talking to you. And we're very excited to have your artwork in our new offices, and it's been great to have you here to help celebrate International Women's Day.
Thank you for having me, and I look forward to seeing your offices soon.